Hello all! How's it going, everybody? Welcome, everybody in chat. I am ResiRNG, everybody's favorite lazy orange cat boy who loves music and all that sort of stuff. How's it going, everybody? Happy Monday. I hope you all are doing well. Hope you all are getting a decent start to your week. I've been doing pretty good. I've had, what was it? This past weekend, I got to go to AnimeNYC on Sunday. That was a lot of fun. Oh my god, Hollow Live had such a big presence there. A lot of VTubers did, surprisingly. It's been a while since I've been to an actual convention, so getting to see sort of what the weeaboo landscape is nowadays has been very interesting. And I got, a ton of merch there too, so I'm very happy about that. A lot of exciting things have been going on there. And of course, I've still been hard at work on my videos for the channel. I've got the glam metal series in the tank. I've also hopefully got another video on the way, and hopefully around the same time that video drops. I don't know. I've got a whole bunch of plans for the immediate future, It's an exciting time to be a ResiRNG fan, I will say that much. But anyways, welcome y'all to, the weekly music talk stream, or try to do this as weekly as I can, try to keep the channel alive essentially through, reaching out to other VTubers and talking with them about the music they love, talking with you in chat about the music y'all love. Hello, Sarah. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. And today we've got a very special guest indeed. I've known this guy in particular for a few years now. He was actually one of my earliest friends that I made in the VTuber space. And I don't know exactly I don't purport to know exactly how often he streams nowadays. I know he's incredibly busy with his own sort of schoolwork at the moment, but he's a dear friend of mine. Won't you all please welcome the time mage Yorashoo? Oh, Yorashoo.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Welcome to the stream. It's how long exactly have we known each other? I know it's been we first met doing this Uno collab or something like that. We found each other through the Ian VTuber server or something like that.
Yeah, it's been, I think we met in 2021. It was the summertime, because that's around when I started
this hell
entire streaming thing. So it's been a while, long time coming.
Hell yeah. Well, welcome to the stream. Usually when I like to start these things out, I like to open the floor to my guests, get the sort of music juices flowing, as it were, and or discussion juices, whatever juices you prefer. I don't know. Stop talking about juices. But
going on a dark path there.
But when did your passion for music really start? Because it's one thing to really, just sort of casually enjoy music and listening to it on your own time and stuff like that. But it's another thing for us VTubers to sort of center our own careers around it, I'd say. So you sort of do a lot of stuff with drums and all that. So where did that all your passion for that really sort of begin?
That's a loaded question. All right, so I think
take your time, no pressure.
Yeah, no, for sure. I thought about it a little bit, and I think my passion for music definitely started when I was about 7 or 9. I started taking drum lessons first time, and I just enjoyed the instrument. It was really fun to be able to play the songs that I like listening to in real life on drums, because I don't know why, but drums resonated with me a lot.
No, I have sort of a similar experience, honestly. I got into playing the drums through, Rock Band, Guitar Hero, those games and stuff, and you're playing on the controllers they had, back in the day. And I took lessons myself. I think there was this one rock instructor in my hometown that I took lessons from for few years or so. Then I got, super into jazz drumming in college, and, I sort of evolved from there into the drummer I am now. But yeah, it was that sort of initial spark from a very, I guess, rhythmically minded thing that I had developing in me. It's sort of carried on to the present day, and I can't be any more grateful for that, you know?
No, honestly, yeah, we had like a similar experience, except I've noticed this with like guitarists and drummers too, where a lot of them start off with rock and metal, or like those type of genres,
Oh
and then
yeah.
like in college or later on in life, they go to jazz and stuff. And I'm always like, huh, is jazz really like the second like pinnacle of what you should go to? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, like jazz drumming, I'd say, just like jazz theory in general, I feel like there's a lot of potential there for like any musician to like pick up and learn. Like, for one thing, like theoretically speaking, like the music theory that goes into like jazz chord changes and just jazz chords in general, it's like nutty stuff, man, and it sounds gorgeous. But also just like learning how to like listen to a group of musicians and like improvise together and come up with like a new sort of configuration of music that's never been played before. I used to do a lot of jazz improv in college, and just like that entire experience of like, like not necessarily guiding, because we were all sort of feeding off of each other, but like being at the, being behind the drum kit and trying to like, add to the conversation rather than just strictly, keeping time. It's a whole other feeling entirely.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Have,
Because I think the biggest thing for jazz is like I did jazz guitar for about like 3-4 years.
oh,
I'm not
okay.
good. I'm not definitely not good, but like I did for 3-4 years, and then I did jazz drumming in high school. And from both experiences, the biggest thing for me was like it was really fun to learn these tools, and like tools like scales and like the pentatonic, obviously.
Oh yeah.
One of the first things you learn, right? Like learning all of those and then taking it and putting it into like your soloing, or just like overlaying on top of music you already know. That was like a really cool feeling for me.
Absolutely. I remember, I took a jazz theory college in jazz theory class in college, and this was at the time where I had access to a marimba. I actually took like a semester's worth of marimba lessons one time. I was supposed to take snare lessons because I wanted to expand my like percussion techniques or whatever, like with classical training or what have you. But yeah, the instructor that was supposed to be there for snare, he had a sabbatical that semester, so I ended up with a marimba instructor instead. Long story short, I have somewhere buried deep in the back of my brain some sort of knowledge of marimba. But I remember for like that one semester, I took sort of the theory that I'd learned from jazz theory, and I was just going up these scales like with through all these modes, like doing like E Dorian, E Lydian, etc., etc.
There's so
Just
many modes.
yeah, oh my god, like modal jazz. I
A
mean, it's
lot.
beautiful, but you have to have like you have to have the energy and the commitment to really like memorize those scales and work off them.
No, for sure. That's like one of the hardest things about jazz. Like, oh my god. Yeah, it's one of the hardest things because you learn all these tools and you have all these like cool techniques you can use, but then you gotta apply them in like
Mhm.
the actual world. And like I feel like that was like a hard thing for me, but a really
Yeah.
satisfying like paying off thing for me when it finally worked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, totally. When you actually break through and you, I don't know, at a certain point, everything sort of connects, and I don't know. Just speaking from my personal experience, I was a music major, and so like I came out of that really feeling like, I had a broad appreciation for just like all types of music. Like, that's not to say I don't have any like least favorite types of music or least favorite artists or anything, but I'm able to like sit down and evaluate a piece of music, broadly speaking, as the not as though I don't have any biases, but like I try to be open-minded. I try to have an open mind with things because 9 times out of 10, like when somebody comes at a track, with an idea, they're not intentionally setting themselves up to make like a bomb,
Yeah, for sure.
Gotta have some sort of faith in music. Hello, NPR. Good to see you in chat. Uh, um, sort of speaking of that, I know we've sort of spoken in the past, and you're like a science major where you've been studying the sciences where you've been going to college. Have you had a lot of time doing that to pursue many things musical at college, or?
So it's funny you mentioned that because like
Yeah.
I graduated computer science in college about like a few months ago, so I'm done with that now. But
Congratulations.
thanks, appreciate it. I had a realization like halfway through college where I was like, do I want to really hard commit to my career field, or kind of just have a little more fun with the hobbies I want to pursue? And like music has always been like a thing that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
I knew that I didn't want to do it professionally because it's just too difficult and money kind of matters a little bit to me. So getting that kind of like started up is like pretty hard. So respect for you being able to do that in New York. Insane, actually insane.
I mean, I wouldn't say that I make my own living on music. Of course, I have my own job that pays the bills, but I definitely understand where you're coming from with the whole struggle of making that like a full-time live. I try my best. I play in like 2 different bands in the city that, so that I try to divvy my time up between, but I have like a full-time job that I work during the weeks that, pays the bills, supports me pretty well. This VTuber habit that I've had, I'm really happy to keep doing it in my spare time with whatever time I have, but it's really how would I say music for me has always sort of been like a stretch goal in my life. Like I want to find success doing music, if not like a big like commercial success. I want to have like some sort of influence on like what's to come in the future, musically speaking, whether that's
yeah, for sure,
whether that's rock or like in my own sort of way. I don't know, like I've never been like I've never particularly had a need to be like a big like commercial success, just as long as I'm able to sustain myself comfortably and be a good influence to drummers or even other musicians other than that, like that'd be good enough for me.
No, I know what you mean because I feel a similar way where like I like playing music and I do like posting like stuff online like covers or original songs and like getting recognition for it, but I don't really have a desire to be by myself. I don't have a desire to be like a really famous person, but recently in the last year of college I met some new friends, and these friends were a lot more musically interested in things, so we actually started a band.
Oh,
So
that's
we play
cool.
like we started it like last year, and we play like J-pop, J-rock covers and occasional
nice.
like American cover.
I see.
And our plan is to like kind of grow this band because like I want to grow like as a band together. I don't really care if like my individual success is great, but like I think the feeling of growing with a group of people that like you really vibe with as a band is like a really cool feeling.
No, I definitely get that. What kind of bands do you play in? Well, that's a good question, MPRA. I actually I have 2. One of them I'm sort of in with a bunch of friends from college who've sort of we've sort of stayed in touch. We all sort of live in the New York City area now. It's very nice. We play like this sort of classic rock revivalist, folk rockish type stuff. Then I'm in another band that's like a 4-piece, and we play more like grungy, alternative rocky, sort of like early 70s stoner metal sort of vibe. And I really enjoy both. It allows me to sort of stretch my creative muscles between all these sorts of genres and feels, and it's good to have that sort of versatility, I feel. You say you play like a bunch of J-rock stuff and all that?
Yeah, we're primarily like J-rock, J-pop type stuff.
That's awesome. I know you also listen to a lot of metalcore and stuff, right?
Yeah, actually I still kind of am, but
Oh yeah.
I'll talk about it in a second. But yeah, I was really into metalcore and like post-hardcore, melodic hardcore. I loved that stuff growing up. And in high school and college, that was like my bread and butter. That would be all 6 of my daily mixes on Spotify. You know, like it was definitely what I listened to.
Oh yeah, I've had phases like that for sure, where it's like all the daily mixes are like all Australian psychedelic rock, or like recently where
Oh
I've been
my
prepping
God.
for the for the glam metal deep dives that I've been doing. There's been a lot of that in my daily mixes, so I totally
Definitely.
sympathize. Well, it is. I can't say that I'm that familiar with like metalcore or hardcore or most cores, to be honest. Like I sort of,
Right.
when it comes to like all those sort of subgenreifications of like punk or metal or stuff like that, I sort of check out after, you know, a few different subdivisions. But like I would be interested. Like I know, like I have a few friends from back home that are in bands that you know, are influenced by that sort of like hardcore, metalcore, math rock, that sort of vibe.
Math
It's
rock, Polyphia is huge. Yeah.
it's really it's really fucking batshit music to pull off. And like I not to say I envy those talents necessarily, because I do my own thing, but like I would love to have that sort of skill set where I'm able to stop on a dime according to like some sort of mathematic algorithmic calculation I have running my head, you know?
No, it's a cool skill, but personally, it's not one that I'm too interested in because I like appreciating math rock. Like,
Oh
I
yeah,
listen to a lot of Polyphia. They're like
that's
the biggest
fair.
like math rock people I know, right? And each
Yeah.
Canito is like great because he just posts like 30-second clips online on YouTube.
Mm,
But it's cool music that I appreciate, but I don't have a desire to like really play because like I know I'm not at that level, so I'd rather
Oh
work
yeah.
on stuff more at my level and get just better as a player.
Totally. I absolutely understand that. Like, you know, I'm a huge fan of progressive rock, so like going back to, you know, when I was a teen, I loved bands like Rush, Yes, King Crimson, etc. The worst,
Right.
even like progressive metal and stuff like Dream Theater and Opeth and all that. Those guys go fucking ham on the drums. I could never in a million years match their level of technicality, so I just sort of take what I can from them and run with it, you know.
Yeah, prog metal is insane. Like their chops are refined. Especially on
Oh
the bass
yeah,
drum. They're just really talented players.
yeah. Stoner metal, like Deep Purple. I've been listening to early 70s Deep Purple lately. Great stuff. Oh yeah, early 70s Deep Purple is incredible. Like Mark II Deep Purple, Mark III even, like with David Coverdale and I think it was like Glenn, not Glenn Tipton, Glenn whatever his face is from Trapeze. Great fucking material. Have you listened to much Deep Purple ever, Yorashoo?
No, I haven't heard of them actually.
I think you'd like them a lot. You know, they actually had quite an influence on Japanese rock back in the day. They were huge back in the early 70s in Japan. They actually had this what was it, a live album back in the day, made in Japan, and
Oh, really?
yeah, it's like it was like one of the earliest sort of heavy metal live albums, and it's like just all of these like super extended cuts of like Deep Purple songs from around the period. Like they've got like Highway Star, Child in Time. I think they do a crazy long version of like Space Truckin' and Lazy too. Like there's just like killer cut after killer cut on that album, and like there were in the research that I've been doing for my glam metal video, I've seen that there were a few bands like back in the day, like Loudness, or rather Lazy as they were known back in the day. Lazy leading into Loudness. I think Akira Takasaki, their guitarist, was heavily inspired by Deep Purple's music. You could probably say the same about a few other bands back in the day. Just super great, underrated. Well, not really underrated. They've sold like a shit ton of records around the world, but super
Right.
super good fucking old-timey classic rock band. I would heavily recommend. Oh, Fireball. Yeah, that's a good album. I don't know. Personally, I'm torn between In Rock and Machine Head being my favorite, like, Mark II Deep Purple album. That's when they had, like, Richie Blackmore and Ian Gillan in the same band, and those two together, whoo boy, what a combo.
No, it sounds really cool. I think I'll check them out later because I'm always down to has some Japanese inspired
Oh
bands.
yeah.
Always down for that. Sounds fun.
You mentioned you said you've done drum covers in the past.
Yeah, I have. I've done a few.
What sort of it has it been like whatchamacallit? Has it been strictly sort of J-rock focused? I think you did a while back, like, what was it? Calliope Mori's Red. I think you did the drum cover of that once.
Yeah, so I actually started the covers, but okay, so I started the covers in the pandemic actually, because the pandemic was my senior year of high school. So during that, like, time where prom and stuff is canceled, there'd just be so much less to do, right?
Oh
So I
yeah.
started making drum covers on like a personal channel, and I'd upload them with like a single mic audio with my like acoustic set in the basement that has
Oh,
no
boy.
carpet, so audio which is not great, but
I
they were really
remember
fun to
doing
do.
that back in the day. Like what was it? This is an ancient memory I have. Like I remember I was friends with this one person on this one forum, and they were trying to write this one sort of, I guess, Rush-inspired prog song, and they were asking around people to do like demo drums for it, and I just so happened to be like the only one at the time who like on that forum who they were friends with to know like a thing or two about drums. And so I took my shitty USB like Rock Band microphone at the time. I angled it at,
microphones.
yeah, I angled it at my acoustic kit, and I set to record, and somehow I got something out of it.
That's insane. Like repurposing the Rock Band, that's a good idea, honestly. I didn't know record for you.
Yo, those USB mics are actually pretty reliable. I used to use those in like for like chat rooms back in the day, back with like Skype and Uvu and all that.
Oh my god, Skype mentioned. That's crazy.
No.
I haven't used that in years.
Yeah, they really dropped the ball on the whole sort of digital communication over voice.
Definitely. Discord's just so much better now.
Discord, and I guess Zoom for Business too, although I don't know. It seems to be a sort of open field these days.
Yeah, for sure. Because like Zoom we use a lot in college, and I actually grew to kind of like Zoom because it has some cool features like iPad screen sharing and stuff, which was huge.
Oh yeah.
At office hours and stuff. But you can do that with Discord now. It's a little harder, but you can do it. It's kind of nice, but Zoom definitely has some nice features.
Yeah, I honestly I need to look into using Discord more. I mean, I don't even have my own community Discord or anything like that. I just find that, management of a server and going onto a server regularly to be a bit of a hassle. Not to say I don't like appreciate getting to interact with fans or whatever. Like that's literally why I have these streams, right? To interact with all y'all's musical opinions and all that stuff. But it's just like I feel like it would be overwhelming without finding like a bunch of friends to volunteer themselves to be my mods.
Now I know what you mean, but like my solution to that, have a dead Discord. No.
Oh, that's true.
I think it's cool to have a Discord because like you can post stuff there. It's kind of like an archive, right?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
You can easily look back at like things you've done in the past and be like, oh, wow, that's kind of cool. I made these announcements. I posted these things to my server. I posted these covers. Like, I don't know. It's kind of nice to just scroll through.
Yeah.
Discord
I just
sometimes.
hope all that stuff is archivable. Like I hope you're able to back that up somewhere that's not just strictly Discord, because that is like a preservation worry of mine, like having all of these different documentations and stuff instead of like being archived on like distinct websites or whatever to be captured by the Wayback Machine. They've sort of been, I guess, sequestered off in these different Discord servers, which not to disparage the communities and stuff that get together and create all this documentation for themselves, but I just feel like, I don't know, we're losing something in terms of permeability for like convenience and in terms of hosting servers, if that makes sense.
It kind of does, yeah. And I remember actually you did a charity stream for Internet Archive, Web Archive.
Yeah. I was gonna have you on there, but unfortunately, some things got crossed, and
Oh no, no, yeah, that was.
I'm not
a really weird time for
gonna
me.
shame you for that. That we all have our
Yeah.
off days.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I hope that went well though, because that's a
No,
really
it
cool
was
thing
nice. I had
to do
a
a
lot
charity
of
stream
fun.
for.
I had a lot of fun doing that. We watched we watched a few different like old timey PSAs and educational videos that they had preserved on there. It was really interesting shit. Like I think there was a video about like Stonehenge and stuff that
Oh my God.
that we were looking through, like theories on like the ancient druids and what they did with it.
That's
Some
insane.
very unique stuff preserved on there, you know, including a bunch of like live audio. Like I don't know necessarily how much what representation they have there in terms of like J-rock or metalcore or any of the genres you like or what have you, but I know for sure like they have a lot of like jam material on there, like stuff from the Grateful Dead. Like they have their whole sort of audio archives, like live tapes and whatnot preserved on there. They have what else? I think there's a bunch of Fish on there, Toad the Wet Sprocket, Humphreys McGee, and of course my perennial favorite, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. They have a shit ton of music on there, but so it's just like the whole mission that they do of like having all these petabytes or whatever the ridiculous measurement of bytes that they're onto now. You
Yeah,
know,
petabytes might be even too small now. Like it's insane.
yeah, having all this space solely dedicated to like preserving information for the future, you know, information that might not necessarily, you know, have a reason to be preserved. They also have a lot of like game demos and stuff on there, like from back in the days, on like old SKUs of like different games and stuff. I haven't
Oh,
admittedly
really? That's kind of
yeah.
cool, actually.
Yeah, I haven't admittedly delved too deep into that, but I know they have like I think I saw they had like some some old timey like Call of Duty demos or whatever. I don't know. It's very interesting stuff, and I wish I had more time in the world to sort of dedicate to doing stuff for the Internet Archive, but. No, I was happy enough to just do that stream. Hopefully I can do something like that again. I'd love to hold another charity stream in the future.
Yeah, charity streams are a win-win for everyone. Like it's a good thing to do. I should try one of these days.
Hey, yeah, go for it. I mean, only thing I would say is build up the endurance beforehand, because oh my god, I was dead by the end of that charity stream. Like my voice was completely shot the next morning.
Absolutely. Like keeping the voice like lubricated and like nice in streams actually a challenge.
Thank God for my guests, because otherwise I could not have gotten through that entire thing.
100%, yeah.
Rush has aged surprisingly well. 2112, Farewell to King's Hemispheres all still sound great. Yeah, I love old time Rush. It's actually interesting. I was watching I think Anthony Fantano posted a video of him going through like his recent vinyl gets lately, and he had like a shit ton of Rush that he'd recently acquired. It made me think, you know, I'd love to do like some sort of Rush retrospective someday. It's just like, one, you know, that's already a band that's sort of been talked to death. I think like Crash Thompson over on his channel, he did How to Get Into on them beforehand, so that's sort of already covered ground. But also, I don't know, just like them having such a massive discography, I don't know where I'd fit it in my schedule unless I were to sort of rope them into another sort of theme. So I don't know. Rush are a fantastic band, but I don't know if I have the time to discuss them so well. Have you listened to much Rush?
No, I've heard of them, but I just haven't, because like my thing is like anything before the 90s is kind of hard for me to get into, because I was actually just talking about this with someone the other day, but I feel like I'm really into like the melodic subgenres, right? So when I listen to older music, it's hard for me to really stay engaged, because the techniques are just like generally simpler, and like the music wasn't as crazy, like for someone as like ADHD zoomer as me, right? Like I want like really cool, intricate, like lead and rhythm parts.
That's fair. You know, I will say, if you're looking for something like that, I think Rush's 70s period, they have a lot of cool albums sort of like that. They have I think 2112, Farewell to Kings and Hemispheres, you know, the ones that MPRI actually mentioned in chat, those are all very intricately woven together, you know, suites of music, essentially. Like, there's, like, each of those albums essentially has, like, a side-long epic, or failing that, like, at least, like, 2-3 albums per side, you know, very progressively minded sort of music. And then even, like, there's stuff from, like, what was it? Permanent Waves and Moving Pictures. That's a bit more straightforward, but it's still some pretty nice, like, new wave inspired progressive rock music, I think. So yeah, I don't know. Rush, very interesting band. I definitely recommend them.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
And
sorry. Do you mind?
So
If
go
I
ahead.
take like a break for a second to go to the bathroom?
Of course, yeah. That is totally fine.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'll be right back, guys.
It's okay. I'm just going to take a sip of water real quick. Whew. Ah, okay, I am back. Are you there, or are you still in the bathroom? Okay, I think you're still in the bathroom. Uh, Chat, I kinda did something dumb. Accidentally, accidentally dipped my, one of my earbuds in water. I'm putting it in rice now, so hopefully it'll make a recovery, but if not, looks like I've gotta buy another pair of earbuds soon. Man. Music was simpler in the 70s, I don't know about that. Well, I don't know, I guess it's sort of relative now, because, like, everything that we've been learning nowadays, we've sort of, how to say, it's knowledge that was carried over from way back then, right? Because, back then, stuff like tapping, for instance, was not nearly as novel. Like, Eddie Van Halen, he was a pioneer, not just because, not because he knew necessarily how to tap. Like, there were a bunch of guitarists back in the 70s who knew how to tap, like Steve Hackett, Harvey Mandel from Canned Heat, a few others that I can't think of at the moment. But Eddie Van Halen, the thing is, he just tapped with confidence. He tapped more eagerly and more with more, I guess, pizzazz than any other guitarist up to that point, and in so doing sort of shifted the conversation. So, like, it might not necessarily be that music nowadays is more complex as much as it is music back then. Its complexity was a lot more, I don't know, developing, how to say? I don't know. I really tend to like, there's still a bunch of bands nowadays that do complex music really well. Like, like channel favorites, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, of course. I talk about the big game about them because they constantly try to reinvent themselves and, not just do their own sort of complex structures and, not structures, their own sort of complex suites and other sorts of weird song forms. I really respect them for doing what they do. Maybe that's just showing my own sort of musical ignorance that I'm citing only King Gizzard, because God knows there's probably all sorts of like modern classic rock and prog rock bands out there doing their own thing, but I don't know. I would need to look into them more. I've heard a lot of good stuff about, like Steven Wilson, the guy behind Porcupine Tree. What was it actually? I was talking the other day with what's his face? Duke from the Algorithms. We've been talking recently because they're doing two of them are doing like a like listen along to King Crimson's discography in preparation for hopefully something we're gonna do later, but it came up between us, my opinions on Steven Wilson and Porcupine Tree, and to be honest, I haven't listened to that much Porcupine Tree outside of like Fear of a Blank Planet. That's a killer album, by the way. Very, very fucking good album. And Gavin Harrison, he's a fantastic drummer. I saw him play with King Crimson, actually. What was it? Yeah, he was the one of the three drummers that they had doing it, and he actually played a drum solo, if I recall correctly. Don't know why chat isn't updating. Let me see if I can. Oh, here we go. His own style. Sure, but look at prog rock in the 70s. Some of that got pretty complex, even the folk music. Ever tried to play a Nick Drake song? All those unusual tunings. Well, to be honest, I'm not that familiar with Nick Drake. I would have to go back and listen to his discography to really make that comparison. But I will say, just like, I feel like our idea of complexity sort of changes with time. Like back in the day, back when it was like classical musicians and jazz pianists and all that, like if you had like like virtuosic mastery of your instrument, like that was one thing, but like it was sort of mastery within a particular style and a particular framework of their day. Like nowadays we look at most like thrash or metalcore bands, or like, you know, super hardcore drummers that do blast beats and all that stuff, and they're like super that's our own like modern day conception of complexity in a sense. You know, like, ever listened to the Penguin Cafe Orchestra? No, I don't think I have actually. I'd be interested to check that out. That's a very interesting name. Yura, are you back? Oh wait, hang on. Oh, hello, talking. Can you hear me?
Welcome back, Rezi.
Oh.
Welcome
Oh
back
my
to your
God.
podcast.
How long was I muted for? It's just
Probably like 5 minutes.
God, oh, this is kind of embarrassing. You know, what was it? While you were away on the break, I accidentally dropped one of my earbuds into my my cup of water. So now I've got that. Now I've got that sort of sitting in a bag of rice. I'm trying to fix it. Hopefully, it isn't completely busted now.
Is it one of those like cool AirPods?
It's a Raycon earbud. I've had a pair of Raycons
gotcha.
for a while now. I don't know. You know, I've sort of been, I guess, expecting something to go wrong with them for a while, but I guess it is what it is. If it busts, I can find another pair of earbuds, no problem, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. The gaming ones are pretty good. AirPods are obviously like pretty banger. So like,
yeah, and like I'm sure I can find like a better product, like a better quality product for cheaper than like what Raycon produces them for, right? It's like they're the celebrity earbud. Like they obviously Ray J's the one behind them. You know, he gave the name to them. That's why they're the Raycons. I feel like I could find a better deal. Yeah. Like I feel like I could find a better deal. You know, just on Raybuds that aren't being hawked by, you know, celebrity brand name recognition. You know.
oh yeah, that definitely inflates the price.
Yeah. And you know, it's interesting now. You know, you listen to some of these like Raycon ad reads that people are getting up to on YouTube, and it's like now they're getting into like home kitchen appliances and stuff like that, like Raycon faucets and all that. I'm like, interesting. I don't know if I trust the same guy to, you know, to that makes my earbuds to, you know, make quality kitchen gear. But then again, you know, nowadays there's that meme that's popular where it's like, you know, the people on the conveyor belt, you know, looking at just like all these absurd things that all these companies produce, and it's really, you know what I'm talking about? Like the
I haven't seen that meme, but
now.
I can kind of imagine, because we make so many random like that. To me sounds like when you enter an Amazon warehouse and see shelves and shelves of random nonsense.
Oh yeah. But I mean, not even just like Amazon, like looking at like all of the Keiretsu and like the major, like the chaebols in Korea and all those major corporations, like I think it's like Hyundai and Yamaha and all that stuff. They just produce like so many different things, like military equipment, musical equipment.
Samsung owns like half the country, pretty much.
Yeah, it's insane.
Actually, insane, yeah.
Take care, MBRI. Good to see you in stream, and thank you for the conversation. Yeah, I don't know. It's how to say. You were yeah. You were in Asia recently for vacation, right? How was that?
Oh, that's that's a loaded question, because I was in Japan for like 36 days. And,
yeah.
That was a really fun trip. That was a really fun trip
Mm,
because I went by myself and I went there with no plans. So I just kind of figured stuff
mm.
out after I landed.
Oh, that's cool. You sort of hosteled it up, or like, did you stay in one of those, like one person, like cabinet sort of apartments?
So I did a hostel for like 2 nights, but for most of my stays, I would stay in the business hotels because they
Oh,
were
yeah,
really
yeah.
cheaper, definitely cheaper than America. So they were
Yeah,
economical
yeah.
enough to stay in.
That's cool. I've wanted to go to Japan for ages now. It seems like it seems like a doable vacation, but I just need to find, I guess, the time, the weekend that I can actually take off or whatever. Because I don't know. I mean, I like my current job, but I'm not exactly in a position where I can like miss, I guess, a Friday or whatever, or like book off a week or whatever to to go to Japan.
Yeah, I know. Finding the vacation time was hard. So that's why I decided to do all this travel because I went to Europe as well. So I went Europe, Japan, and then some like other states in America. And
Oh,
I'm
nice.
doing all
That's
that
cool.
before I start work. I want to get all the travel before I can, no longer travel this easily.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. See the sights now. Did you do anything cool like music wise while you were on vacation? Like, did you see any cool concerts? Yeah, like, go like
Oh, I
hear
did a
any cool
lot
local
of
music?
very cool. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I did a lot of very cool music stuff, and since it's a music podcast, I might as well share it with you.
Of course.
I
Yeah,
started
yeah.
off by going to see one of my favorite J rock bands, band Made. If anyone knows them,
Oh,
I
nice.
saw them in Yokohama, and they were insane. I think their bassist and lead guitarist are the two most talented members I've seen in this generation for like a little while. Besides like Tim Henson and stuff, like
Oh,
they
wow. Yeah.
are insane because they do this thing where a lot of their songs have solo sections, but live they return the solo sections into like 1v1s. The bassist and
Oh,
the lead guitarist would often 1v1 on stage and like go back and forth, and it
oh,
was
wow.
really insane
That
because the
sounds
bassist
amazing.
kept up with the lead guitarist so well, and it made me appreciate like bass a lot more as an instrument.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
genuinely.
yeah. No, I love like when you've got a bass player that just completely tears it up. Like, have you heard of Cassiopeia? They're like a Japanese jazz fusion band that's just they were completely bonkers back in like the 70s, 80s. I think they're still around today, but like their peak era was like late 70s and the early 80s. There's a particular album of theirs, Mint Jams, that's like particularly famous among like, YouTube algorithm communities or what have you, right? Like it pops off hard. I highly recommend it. But what you're saying about just like basses that go completely hard, that just completely reminds me of like hearing some of those bass solos on like Cassiopeia albums. It's great when you've got like a virtuoso like that, like Jaco Pastorius as well. If you're familiar with that name, is just like
I'm
completely
not.
stellar bassist. Yeah, he was a very big like jazz fusion bassist. I want to say back in the 70s, 80s. Unfortunately, he passed away prematurely, but he was
That's good.
very big. Yeah, he was very big with like he played like fretless bass a lot. That was that
Well,
was
that was
his
his thing.
thing.
Okay, yeah, yeah. That's cool. Very,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
jazz like.
I
Yeah.
love the fretless bass. It's a really interesting instrument. Like I think one of the guitarists in one of my bands, he recently got a bass that I don't know if it was like modified specifically to be fretless from the start or if like he'd taken the frets out, but it was like he modified this thing into a very cool like fretless bass, and I mean, he's got this sort of thing that he likes to call gear acquisition syndrome, where he just like he randomly all the time drops like hundreds of bucks on like Facebook Marketplace instruments.
Yep, yep. I'm familiar with that kind of syndrome. I see it a lot on Reddit.
Yeah,
Whenever I go
yeah.
see a post for music gear, it's like, should I buy this music gear? It's always like, yes, do it. I'm financially stable and I can do it, but you should do it too. And it's like all these comments are like, yeah, I got a problem, guys. I keep buying equipment. Really
Yeah. Oh my
funny
God.
because
Financial,
it's so easy
financial.
to.
Yeah, it's easy to fall into that, trap for sure. I mean, I don't really relate to that so much with equipment at the moment as much as I do with merch though, because what was it? In the
Oh
past
man,
2 weeks, I went to, first of all, there was King Gizzard came to New York and they played like two
really?
nights at Forest Hill Stadium, right? Like this like sort of, I don't know, it was like 13,000 or whatever, 13 yeah, like 13,000 seat capacity arena in Queens,
Oh
and they played
wow,
2 nights there, 3 hour marathon sets both nights. It was a fucking amazing experience. But like even more
that
than
sounds
that, like
amazing.
there was like the second night I was there, there was like a sort of like a bootleg gathering of like Gizzard fans like going on at this brewery where like a bunch of people were selling like bootleg merch. I shelled out nearly like $100 on merch that day.
Oh
It's
my god,
ridiculous. Yeah,
it's
and
so easy. Just keep buying more and more.
and then the following week, actually just yesterday, I went to Anime New York City, and I
Which I want
spent
to
a
hear more
lot.
about, by the way, because that
Oh
sounds really
yeah,
fun.
no, it was great. Their dealer hall, their artist alley was gigantic. Like, oh my god, it was like rows upon rows upon rows of all these
Really?
vendors,
Oh
and
my god,
yeah, it was a lot. I
talk
I
about
I
bankrupt.
I admittedly I managed to keep within like $100. I tried to hold back, especially after spending so much on Gizzard the week before, but I did get like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
few like Godzilla related items. I got like this I did they had like these miniature Legos called Nano Blocks, and they made like a whole bunch of like Pokemon themed kits. And I think I got like a Chikorita from the vendors yesterday. That was fun. I put that together yesterday night.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but what else? Probably got like some stickers. Oh, I got a Pomu stand. I'm so happy. I
Ooh.
was able to finally fulfill the promise of the Pomu stand on my on my bookshelf. You know how I have that sort of in my background.
Wait, you showed your background before?
Yeah, I mean, like in my latest videos, at least. I don't know. I've sort of customized it where I have like a bookshelf with like a bunch of rock books and like a Pomu standee or whatever. I finally got that
Oh,
Pomu standee.
that's so cool. Wait,
Not
that's
that
nice. That's cool.
particular standee, but another fan standee. What was interesting was that was the last that was the last particular Pomu standee that I think that vendor had, and I think they had it on display and they had it like on sale for $20 or whatever because low stocks. Just trying to get rid of it,
Yeah, yeah.
and I got that oh, what was it? I asked them, could I have could I have a Pomu? And they were like, okay, let me check behind, And it turned out that Pomu that was on display was the last Pomu that they had there. So they're like, we can take this and we can pack it up for you, or you could have a mint as well. And we kind of laughed because, if you know, you know. And,
Okay, okay.
I got, what was it? No, I ended up getting that display Pomu. I had them pack it away, and they gave me a Pomu sticker as well for it for free. So I'm
That's
happy
awesome.
that there's still some merch out there for the fairy, even though she's quite a bit of the ways graduated and onto another life now.
Yeah, yeah. I feel this reminds me of some stores I saw in Japan that these were attested to your like wallet for sure because they were dedicated to like there's some dedicated to VTubers. So Hololive, I found one pop-up store that was just Hololive stuff.
Oh yeah,
And there was also it was Hololive, so there's some cool merch. My friend's a fan, so I bought him some merch. But it's really sad that his favorite like VTuber, I think it was Bolton, Shiro something Bolton.
Chichiro Botan,
I
yeah.
Yeah, I could not find like any merch of her. Like I found literally
Damn.
everyone else except for her. So
I mean, I'm
I
sure
got it in
she's like
some
a.
like folder thing, but she was unpopular for some reason. I just
I
didn't know
don't, I
why.
you know, I don't doubt that Botan's extremely popular in Japan. She's a hell of a talented FPS player. Like, oh my god, I think she was
Oh,
actually at
really?
Evo.
Actually?
Yeah, she was at Evo with Korone, actually. They went together, and I think there's actually a video that went around on Twitter of Korone like ordering some merch from like some vendor or whatever, using her English that she learned on stream.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
I
cool
was just
though.
surprised at like how much I didn't see of her in the stores. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah. Sorry, what were you saying?
It was cool though, like at the the limited time that I had there at the con, because keep in mind I only went on Sunday, like I didn't go the full 3 days, but it was
Right,
fun,
right.
getting to go over to the HoloLive panel, because not only did they have like people giving panels and stuff, but occasionally there were livers themselves, I guess, broadcasting from their homes doing karaoke's. Like, I don't know if
Oh
you're
my god! Wow.
familiar nowadays with like Elizabeth Rose Bloodflame, like one of their newer members from, I think, the Justice Wave is what they're called.
What's the company called?
The
What's the
wave,
word?
the newest wave is called Justice. I don't know if you're familiar with Elizabeth, but she is.
I don't think so.
Whew, she's got a goddamn voice of an angel. Let me tell you that. Like,
Oh wow.
sheesh. Yeah, no, granted, I guess it makes sense, right? HoloLive, as they continue to grow and expand, and have actually start fielding all these performers on stages, on tours and shit. Like, it makes sense that the bar for like the talents they'd accept would go through the roof.
Yeah, no, because I feel like the people playing the HoloLive now, like they all have very good, like vocal chops. Kind of a weird way of saying it. They're just really good singers, right? I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like the original HoloLive EN singers, they didn't really emphasize like singing that much, or like really insane like singing talent as much. Even though all of them are pretty good, I feel like
Yeah.
they emphasize that a lot more in the later waves, which is kind of interesting, kind of cool.
I mean, it makes sense, I guess, because like the longer you're established, of course, the more prestige you sort of, the more people are gonna sort of fight for it. So I guess consequently, like, more talent, like people with heavier resumes sort of rise to the top in those later processes, as opposed to now. And that's not to say I feel like they would still take a gamble on like lesser known VTubers, but at the same time, like, there's something to be said for people who have streamed like a long time, like multiple years, have a very solid, I guess, have built up a solid resume of videos that have gotten a decent number of views, all that sort of stuff. I feel like that's a lot more like bankable as I guess a market opportunity than a lesser known quantity,
Yeah, because like the VTubing scene kind of really popped off during quarantine, so the amount of people who have more stacked resumes, quote unquote, is just higher now. So the bar for quality is kind of like a really like robotic term to use, but I guess like the amount of really good candidates is just higher now.
Yeah, and now that what should we call it? Now that they're trying to really break into the mainstream, I wouldn't doubt that they're trying to bat perfection, perfect games. How to say, like, I'm thinking I'm thinking in particular of like that recent collaboration that they had at Dodger Stadium where Gura was singing "Take Me Out to the Fucking Ball Game." That was a trip.
That was insane, because I feel like baseball is one of those sports where like the crowd and audience isn't like, it very much isn't into that kind of like anime like culture,
Yeah.
right? So like,
But I mean, it's
I didn't look
interesting
at the
too.
reactions, but I'm
Sorry,
kind
go
of
ahead.
curious how people reacted to. Yeah, sorry, I was just gonna say like, I'm just curious how people are reacting to that, because I never saw the reactions to it. Do you know how that turned out?
Uh I mean, there were a few like boomers and stuff confused, but for the most part, it seemed to be a successful collaboration. I think. I saw more
That's good.
complaints, honestly, for like for the limited merch runs that sold out too quickly than I did for the fact that that they had like VTubers there in the first place. It's interesting, like, that they chose the Dodgers as, like, the sort of the team that they collaborated with, because I think, like, Shohei Ohtani, he's a huge, like, baseball star. I think Pekara brought him up on stream. Yeah, I think Pekara brought him up on stream a few different times in the past, and she was one of the collab VTubers there at the park, so it's kind of a funny coincidence there.
Yeah, honestly though, but it's really cool that it's making because I feel like it's like a whole different conversation, but like anime itself has come into the mainstream a lot more than the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so like things like VTubers and coming into the mainstream would never been a thing like the 2000s or like 2010s. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I feel like more people, just as a baseline, have an appreciation for anime, even if it isn't like a deep, obscure series or whatever. I feel like if like people nowadays, like if they've seen like a Miyazaki, or if they've seen like maybe an episode or two of Naruto or One Piece, like they can get it and appreciate it far more than anybody say back in the 70s or the 80s, who were having to rely on trickling in VHSs from shitty fan subs and all that. Like, the culture is just completely different now. Like, God bless the internet.
Yeah, like actually though, it's a cool time that we're witnessing right now. Cool time in culture.
Yeah, and I mean, even if I will say, even if I don't follow that much anime nowadays, I'm still glad that we're in a moment where VTubers are on the rise and able to sort of rope in, I guess, sort of make anime a bit more palatable and a bit more, I guess, livable, if that makes sense, for people in their daily lives. Because I don't know, I don't know what it is. Ever since getting into VTubers, I really just haven't had much of a desire to follow the seasonal animes,
Yeah, my thing about anime is that like I enjoy talking about it with people, but I also go through phases where like I'll watch a bunch. Like I had one a few months ago where I watched a bunch. Like I'd watch it every day for like 6 hours at a time after like I would work for the day, and then now I'm not in my phase. Like I haven't watched anime since before I went to Japan. Like it just hasn't been a thing I wanted to do.
Yeah,
I go through hard phases of it,
Absolutely. Would you mind if I got up real quick to go get some water? I apologize.
No, for sure. I'll do the same.
All
Good idea.
right. Let me bring up my glass of water, and I will be right back.
Sounds good. Look at One Piece, I did great. The One Piece live action was banger. Because like that actually made me want to watch One Piece, because I never watched like the One Piece anime. Like after I saw the live action, I was like, dude, this show is banger. Because like the One Piece live action to me is a solid 9 out of 10. It's almost perfect. Like that show, Netflix cooked. Generation speaking, bro, I gotta see those videos. So, like, I want to see these like baseball boomers just like react to like this anime girl on the screen. Like, that's probably so funny. A 50-plus-year-old I work with talked to me about One Piece, and I thought I was speaking. Dude, One Piece is like actually normie now. It's insane. Like JJK and One Piece are like I think in my opinion, most two besides Hunter x Hunter. But okay, Hunter x Hunter, I see a lot of merch of that's kind of mainstream. But I don't know many people, like normie people, who would watch Hunter x Hunter. Kind of weird. I'll be right back. I need some water. All right, I'm back.
And I am back as well. Good timing.
Good timing.
Okay, put that glass of water away. Let's see what else. Ask here. Have you had any, talent for singing in the past? Have you ever attempted to, like, really learn how to sing?
Singing. So before like my second year of college, I had no interest in singing at all. Because I thought my voice is really bad. And I still kind of do. So I don't really like sing much. After I started VTubing a bit, I felt a little more confident with like my voice slightly.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get into singing more, but it is kind of hard because like I feel very like self-conscious about singing. So it's like one of the hardest like instruments for me to learn.
Yeah. No, totally. I feel how to say, like, I feel like, I've been singing a lot more for more of my life than like, how to say, I don't know. I have a lot of experience in singing. I just haven't been. It's one of those instruments. Well, yeah, actually, I've been in choirs in high school or whatever. I took vocal lessons in college. I was in more choirs and stuff in college as well. But I've kind of been out of practice, right? And that what you're saying really does ring true. I feel like that the voice is an instrument that you really need to constantly upkeep and be thinking about it, or else you're very liable to lose it before you really want to, right?
No, definitely.
It sucks.
There's a lot that goes into vocal singing, as you know. Like, also you have to really watch what you eat as well too. Like dairy is a no-no if you want to sing. Salty stuff as well.
Exactly.
Like,
I could never.
All that.
Like, I could never really commit to being a professional vocalist and doing all this dietary stuff just to maintain like a clear voice. Like I feel like at a certain point you just sort of, I'm just sort of like, fuck it, we ball, and I tried to do my best with vocal harmonies on the side. That's sort of my bag now, doing like harmonies and stuff, like on the side like while I'm playing the drums. That's fun.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. It reminds me of there's a band I saw recently. Maybe you know them, called Maximum the Hormone. Heard of them?
They sound familiar. I don't know if I've ever heard their music.
No, it's fine. It's fine if you don't, because like I didn't know them until like I heard them at the festival I went to in Japan, and their drummer really was insane to me because she played these like actually complex like drum beats and fills, but also sing really well at the same time.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's just not a skill set I've seen in many drummers. And then she'd actually like stop midway through and like start dancing and singing in the front of the stage as well. It was really interesting.
That's insane. Like,
genuinely.
I wish I had that sort of talent to be so like coordinated with my limbs, to do crazy shit like that. Because like, to a certain extent, like if I have a vocal harmony or melody line, I can learn how to sort of play a beat around it. But like, if you're doing all that crazy fill shit too on top of it, it's like, I don't know how to separate my brain properly for that, right? Like, between
it's genuinely hard.
Between doing a crazy complex vocal melody and doing a crazy fill, that's some bug shit stuff.
No, genuinely. Like, I already find singing and playing guitar at the same time like difficult. So
oh yeah,
drums in that same time. I'd have to really practice that to get good at it.
Yeah, is that what you do in your current band? Sing and play guitar?
No, I play drums for the most part. But for songs
right.
Where I want to like have a guitar solo, I'll be like, "Hey, can I play lead guitar for this?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." But we did that at a recent gig, and it was cool. It was cool. I can say that I'm a professional guitarist now. Kind of funny, but
right on.
Myself one. Yeah.
God, yeah. I mean, my chat knows I've tried multiple times to get into guitar, but yeah, I don't know. It's the whole having to sit down with the instrument and practice like however many hours a day to constantly build up, the calluses and the muscle memory for playing the scales that really gets to me. There's a lot more. It feels like there's a lot less muscle memory comparatively for being a drummer, at least to me. I don't know how it is from your perspective.
So for someone who plays both instruments at I'd say kind of high level, I think guitar has some parallels with drums where there's kind of like sequences in certain guitar parts where you can kind of like memorize it as like muscle memory. It's like there's parts where like I'll learn the notes and stuff down, but only after like a bunch of repetitions where I like just internalize it as like muscle memory. And then once I get that muscle memory down, I can start like singing on top of that because it becomes like drumming where like you do this one thing as like a machine, like kind of automated.
Yeah.
You work on something else at the same time.
Yeah, it's it is definitely definitely is a different experience, I guess, between the two instruments. I would love to eventually learn how to, be a singing guitarist, at least to the point where I can play like my own covers or get around or, charm an audience or whatever. I feel like that would just be a lot of fun. Party tricks,
Yeah, right.
Anyway,
also the thing about guitar.
Oh, sorry, what?
No, sorry, I was about to say like I think like guitar is a really fun instrument to learn because like when I was growing up, I never could really show people that I can play drums unless I was at school and they asked me to play the horn intro, right? Like if I learn guitar though, I can like pick up a guitar at like someone's house or a party and just start playing. I wouldn't be that guy who just starts playing, but someone's like, hey, can you play something for me? I'm like, okay, sure.
No, that makes sense for sure. Yeah, God, more people should have acoustic drum kits in their home. Jeez, like what
I know,
are they
right?
doing?
Like what are they doing?
They're slacking.
Like just get like a nice $400 Pro kit. Like it's easy, man.
My
It's a
God.
commitment.
Yeah, no, God, especially like where I am now, being living in New York City and having to deal with like, noise complaints from neighbors. I mean, thankfully I haven't and my neighbor downstairs hasn't been banging on my floor too much, but that's sort of a consideration I've had to deal with since I have an electronic kit and I have it, sort of set up on foam pads to sort of dampen the impact downwards as much as I can. But at the same time, there's still a level of noise that I'm worried that will, eventually get me sort of busted by someone. It's the whole precarity of playing in the vicinity of like other people without adequate soundproofing.
I know exactly what you mean because like kind of funny story, but in my first apartment, what's that mean? Yes, drink of water real quick.
No problem.
So in my first apartment, I got my like electronic drum kit for the first time. I started playing. And I spent like 3 hours setting it up because like all the unboxing and throwing stuff away took so long, right? So after 3 hours, I had this kit set up and everything, and I start playing it. And literally like 10 minutes after I start playing it, the person next door comes to me and he knocks on my door and he says, "Hey, do you have a drum set in here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And he's like, "Oh, I think your drum set is shaking my apartment."
Oh my God.
And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's quite interesting. I guess I can't play this right now."
Oh my God. Now
So
that
then
kind of reminds me. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so then to actually fix that issue, I enlisted my friend who's good at building stuff, and we built this like drum riser thing out of this really dense wood. I forgot the density of it, but it's a really dense wood, and it's two boards put together with tennis balls in between, and they have twist ties holding it together at the corners. And ever since I used that, like put the drum set on that board, I haven't gotten a single complaint at any of my apartments about drums.
Oh my God, brilliant! That's some engineering ingenuity right there.
It was such a clutch thing because I'd even go downstairs and ask them, "Hey, do you guys hear the drum set upstairs?" And they're like, "You play drums?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "No, we never heard it." So
Oh my God.
love that thing.
It reminds me, there was this one time, like my freshman year of college. I'd only, a few months in learned that I wasn't able to access the drum room. Because I wasn't taking lessons at the time. Apparently, you can only access like the drum room in the music department if you've signed up for lessons with the drum instructor, in the program, right? So.
Hmm.
I think I tried to get around that by sort of putting together a makeshift drum kit in my apartment, just like sort of setting up different books as pads and like trying to get some sort of a basic drum formation out of my desks and like my chairs and all that. And I tried to do
Yeah.
something like that, play mock drums in my room. Then I heard somebody knocks on my door. Turns out, my room is just above like all the administrative offices down below, like in charge of all the dorms and stuff. And they were like, "Hey, could you keep it down?" And I'm just like, okay.
They told you to turn down this makeshift drum set. Oh my god.
Yeah. It wasn't even like a drum. It was literally just like me bashing on books.
Yeah.
It was just
thing to imagine.
yeah. And needless to say, that's why I got into playing drum, doing drum lessons in college, because I wanted access to that damn drum room.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Genuinely, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just thankful now that I actually have like an electronic kit to practice on, even if it's not like it doesn't feel the same. Like I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, where it's like it does the job decently and sort of producing like a workable facsimile of like a drum sound, but like playing the actual kit and being more in control of your dynamics on that is just like a night and day experience.
No, I know what you mean, because there was a point where like I didn't like the electronic kit as much, but I actually grew to like the electric kit more than my acoustic, because I'm really bad at tuning drums, and like I don't really like the shells I chose. Like my snare drum is such a high pitched sound that I want to get like a new deeper shell. Anyway, I got to a point where like I love the electronic kit more. But then I started playing more complex music and realized that I couldn't do stuff like hi-hat dynamics and different hi-hat strokes on this electronic kit. And that really started bothering me, because like there were so many, like, especially with J-pop music, they do a lot of like more funky type of like hi-hat kind of rhythm stuff, and I just can't get that sound out of my like electronic kit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I'm using my like acoustic kit now, and I'm having a lot of fun like getting back to the acoustic kit, because it just feels pretty good to play.
Absolutely. Let's see here. So I guess right now, are you sort of self-teaching yourself drums? Like, have you taken any drum lessons since like your earlier days?
No, I pretty much stopped when I was like 15, 21 now. I stopped when I was 15, and now for drums, I've reached a level where like if I need to learn like a concept or something, I'm confident that I can look it up online and kind of learn based off that.
Okay.
Like if I need something for a song, I can kind of just look it up and figure it out based on what I'm hearing, and also just like how people are playing it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally feel what you mean. I remember there was a time where there were these particular videos on YouTube that I found about like really how to use your wrists to sort of control the bounce of like your snare roll, and that was just like revelatory shit to me.
No, yeah.
Because I think it was like still at the time where I was still going off of like my rock technique. I hadn't really, I guess, experienced like the bounce and stuff that comes with like learning more sort of jazz rolls and like messing with paradiddles and all those drum rudiments.
Yeah, like because when I did jazz drumming in high school, I tried so hard to apply like rock drumming techniques to like the kit, but it made the feel of like my drumming was weird, and like my band director kind of pointed out sometimes like, hey, the feel there is kind of strange. You want to try a more
Yeah.
jazzy feel? So I
Yeah.
listened to a little more jazz to kind of like fix these like rock habits that I was transferring over.
Yeah, yeah, that too was what was it? Back in I remember it was when I did a big band in college. That was my experience too, sort of unlearning habits of like doing things more straightforward as a rock drummer. Same with like jazz improv, really just loosening up altogether and being more flexible with how I went about a beat that was my takeaway from doing jazz. I apologize if you hear any of those car horns in the background, by the way.
Nah, don't worry about it. It's a New York experience. I love it.
Yeah, like... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, I agree with your point where, like, the loosening up stuff, because the only comments I would get from, like, adjudicators and stuff for, like, these, like, festivals you go to is, like, yeah, I think you can loosen up the drumming a little bit. You got the technique and stuff down, but I think you should explore a little bit with your options. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of true, because jazz feels and jazz kind of groove is like not something I was well versed in compared to like rock feels. So my feels end up sounding pretty like rocky, and I'm like, maybe not for this song, not the right vibe.
It's a hard process, really sort of learning that. I feel just like it's one thing to, get down how to swing and how to play a bossa nova beat, but to also improvise fills on top of it, that's always been something that I've struggled with. Like the whole thing with, jazz improvisation and doing like trading fours. Are you familiar with that terminology, trading fours?
I think I've done it. They've mentioned it in class a few times. So
oh yeah. Just sort of switching off between like one solo for 4 bars and then the drum playing something for 4 bars. That's something that I've had to do a few times, and I'm always like, how do I take up 4 bars of music with a drum solo? Shit. I don't know, like...
No, I genuinely, yeah.
My drum solos, I've always been, I don't know, not to say that I'm like it's like free form or whatever, but I always like having more, I guess, leeway with how I execute them. I remember when I did my senior recital in college, I had like I did Led Zeppelin's Moby Dick, like straight up, and that was like the that was the only song that I had in there where I actually did a drum solo. Like I think I could have probably done that with like one of the jazz songs that I had in like the first half of my set, but nah, I decided to go with a more, I guess, traditional, rock placement for my drum solo. I don't know. It's just...
No, that makes sense. I have a question for you, actually. Like, did you ever have this, like, thing when you're, like... Whenever you, like, have a solo section for, like, a jazz song, did you ever have this thing where, like, you wanted to play so many notes at the beginning and, like, fill up the space, and you just run out of measures, like, as in, like, you have extra time left? It's, like, the worst feeling, because like once you finish your phrase, it's so hard to like just resume it again. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, that's definitely an issue I've had where you go into something with way too many ideas and it just sort of all falls on its face. It sucks, but I've tried to I guess like we've said, loosen up and try to approach it not necessarily weak, but just like trying to be more assured and like thinking ahead of where I'm playing instead of trying to get everything out at once. Oh, definitely, yeah. Like the biggest thing for me was like starting to feel slower sometimes, because you can start slow and just ramp up a little bit. Like I realized that once I started doing that, like it felt a lot better, ease into the fill.
Yeah, like, there's this one particular song that my one band does, the grungier one, where, like, there's this breakdown where, like, it sort of starts off like it's like, kind of like Nirvana's Drain You, almost, except it collapses, like, a lot quicker, and it goes pretty much straight to hell. It like turns into like this free jazz-ish breakdown jam essentially, and it's really fun because I get to start off going like sort of grooving on the beat, but then I build up and build and build and build and get more crazy with my fills, and that to me, I guess, is the ideal drum solo of me showing off my skills. I don't know if I can I don't know if I can do like a sustained like multi-fill thing for like at like a consistent tempo for however long,
Yeah, like I'm not the drummer for Caravan. Like it's insane.
Yeah. Gosh. What else?
Yeah, it seems like jazz drumming was definitely like a big part of your career after like the rock, right?
Yeah, I mean, what is it? I learned really early on, at least in terms of god tier rock drummers. Most of the drummers that I fell in love with, like Keith Moon, what's his face? Mitch Mitchell from the Jimi Hendrix Experience, John Bonham from Led Zeppelin, Neil Peart,
He's pretty good.
yeah, Bill Bruford, what is the guy from fucking basically, all these rock drummers, Jimmy Chamberlain from the Smashing Pumpkins, all these drummers that were just really kick-ass in rock, they all had like some sort of jazz upbringing, and I was kind of like, maybe maybe it would behoove me to sort of incorporate a bit of jazz technique into what I do. Granted, I've kind of been a bit out of practice in recent months, with me being busy on my recent glam deep dives and having doing other things in life and stuff. My attention's been elsewhere.
Oh, for sure.
But
yeah.
I'd like to think. I'd like to think that, all the experiences that I've had, they just continue to build. And even if I do lose some of it, from a few months of, off practice or whatever, I feel like that's easy to regain again. I keep on thinking of that one story of, I think it's like this Chinese pianist who was held in prison for some time. I don't know if it was like a communist or a Japanese POW camp or what have you, but like they were this pianist and they didn't have access to piano for like decades or whatever, but apparently when they got it back, they were just like better than they'd ever been before, because they kept on imagining like every day they were in prison sitting down at the piano and playing. And that's not to say that I play the drums in my head every day or whatever, but like I definitely feel like the muscle memory is there. It's just a matter of me recalling it.
Definitely, yeah. It's like taking off the rust,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but whenever I listen to a song, like if I'm on a subway or in the car or something, I'll often play like the bass drum and snare drum on my right and left feet.
Oh yeah,
Like,
absolutely. I do that too.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Like that's something I do quite often.
Yeah.
Or like if I'm really into it, I'll use like my hand as like makeshift sticks.
Yeah. No, I do that all the time on the subway. Like I love listening to music and shit on the subway, which is why I'm hoping that my earbud is all right in that rice bag.
Yeah. Hopefully that fixes itself.
God, yeah. Yeah, no, I just I feel like, even though I haven't practiced too much in the past few months, I definitely still have some sort of memory there. Like, I even recently recorded like a few parts with one of my bands. Like, we've been trying for like a year now to get like some sort of album out, on streaming or whatever, and we have parts recorded and stuff for it, but as we finish up more, we need to go in and do some touch-ups. And I helped them re-record like some drum parts the other day, so I still have like some sort of ability. It's just we don't have as much opportunity to play out these days, so I don't feel as urgently the desire to practice.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah. Like these
Ugh.
days, I spend a lot more time on guitar because I'm at a point where drums where I can generally play most of the parts I hear and want to play, and the parts I can't, I will like spend a lot more time on. But for guitar, I've been really motivated to learn guitar and like get better at guitar these days because I played in high school, but then stopped it as soon as college started. But I don't know, it's just a really fun instrument these days, and I have a lot of fun playing it. 'Cause
Yeah,
a lot of these
yeah.
J-pop songs have like awesome guitar parts, and like I just want to be able to play them all,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much.
Now, when you say J-rock, are you sort of solely focused on like modern J-rock, or are you also do you also have a mind to like stuff performed back in like the 90s or 2000s as well?
I mainly say like the modern stuff because I
Mhm.
just haven't heard any of the older stuff. But yeah, definitely modern J-pop and J-rock is the kind of stuff I listen to a lot these days because
Yeah.
guitars and drums are just so awesome.
Makes sense. I definitely recommend if you're interested, like one of the earlier like cool J-rock groups that I've been looking into for my glam metal series. There's this band called Bow Wow. They're like really neat. Like their first 3 albums, and they have like 3 other albums in the 80s that are just like completely kick-ass. They opened for Aerosmith and Kiss like when they did their first tours of Japan back in the 70s. It's a really interesting band in rock history. Super
Oh
underrated.
wow.
Ugh,
Yeah, I think I might check him out then. Because you
nice.
said Deep Purple earlier had some Japanese inspired kind of roots.
Or rather, yeah, well, not that they were Japanese inspired, but rather they were like a huge inspiration on Japanese rock.
Oh,
Just-
I see. Yeah.
Or like rock in general. I mean, like Deep Purple, them and Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath, they had such a massive impact on rock music in the 70s.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Ugh. Oh, do you play a lot of rhythm games? Like I don't know. It's been forever since I've really tuned in your stream. Last I saw, you were doing a lot of Mortal Kombat back in the day. But do you ever play rhythm games?
It's funny. You came for like the one Mortal Kombat stream I did like ever.
Oh,
Yeah, that was just like a one-off because my friend wanted to teach me the game, so I was like, all right,
Oh,
let's
yeah.
stream this game. But so rhythm games, I love rhythm games, but I can't play them because I have like a variation of carpal tunnel. So I can't do things that require a lot of really excessive and repetitive clicking and
Makes
a lot of
sense.
pressing like that. It's why I use a vertical mouse. It's why I use really easy to activate switches in my like keyboard and stuff. Like everything around me, I kind of model off making easy to click.
Oh, that's cool.
Generally. Yeah.
It's neat that you've found a process for that.
Yeah. It kind of sucks because like using controllers and stuff and like playing like guitar and drums for long periods of time will like start to
Yeah.
hurt.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
I kind of just push through for the instruments, but I don't play rhythm games because that really would it really activates
Yeah.
things
No,
and nerves.
I've been talking with a few people recently on these streams about, Osu and, those sorts
Yeah.
of click games. I can only imagine how that would feel. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because I used to play a lot of I actually used to when I was younger play a lot of Cookie Clicker and Piano Tiles.
Oh, yeah.
And like Mule, if you remember that one. That one's a throwback. Like
Oh my god.
and Guitar Hero and stuff too, but yeah,
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
again like hurt over time. So I was like, okay, I can't keep doing this.
I was a huge Guitar Hero fan. I wish I
Really?
still had a Guitar Hero / Rock Band guitar controller, because I would, it's sort of revived nowadays with Clone Hero, which isn't an official thing in any capacity, but it's this fan run sort of like Guitar Hero Rock Band clone continuing on in the present day. Like,
Oh really? I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it's like a fan project, and I want to download it at some point because I know, like, if I'm able to buy like some sort of MIDI converter, I'd be able to play like pro drums or regular drums on like a Clone Hero. So if I do that, I'd also want to buy a fucking Guitar Hero controller or a Rock Band controller. But like, I go on Facebook Marketplace nowadays, and fucking hell, man, like those shits are expensive.
Wait, really? Are they not sold anymore?
No, I mean, what was it? Back in the day when you had, music games in their prime, and suddenly they sort of collapsed in on themselves. GameStop was either like buying them on the cheap or like basically dumping them out back because they didn't want to, because they weren't selling essentially. Like, and nowadays that, now that rhythm games are coming back in vogue and stuff, and like fucking Harmonix is working on Fortnite Festival, like there's an actual excuse for, companies to release guitar controllers again.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I remember you mentioned MIDI controller thing. There was a event in Genshin Impact where you play this instrument.
Oh
Kind of
yeah.
like Guitar Hero.
Oh yeah, I think I saw you stream that one time.
I did, and I actually made like a video of me playing because the event was like a drumming event. So
Right.
I hooked up my drums via MIDI to the game and played the songs on drums. And that was like really fun.
Oop. Accidentally just disappeared there for a second. Oop. That sounds
Yeah, no
incredible.
And that was really fun. Yeah.
In truth, that kind of reminded me a bit of what was it, the Donkey Konga games? I don't know if you ever played any of those.
Donkey Kong?
Donkey Konga, like back in the
is
GameCube
that?
era. Nintendo created these bongo-shaped controllers for like
Those things. Yeah.
yeah, for like these different DK games. There was like one platformer, DK something. I think it was Jungle Beat or whatever. And then there was Donkey Konga, the Donkey Konga series, where it was basically like songs from Donkey Kong games, other like sort of nursery rhymes or whatever, or kid songs or whatever, and then licensed stuff. Like I think Smash Mouth's All-Star was in one of the Donkey Konga games.
No way. Of course
Yeah.
No, that song's a banger though. I love that song.
Absolutely. Oh god. Yeah, I need to get back into rhythm games sometime. The thing is, getting into video games these days, it feels a bit irresponsible to me, given all the stuff that I'm trying to do as a VTuber, on the side, in my own jobs and, with my music career and all that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have nearly as much time to get into games these days.
No, I know what you mean, because like that's how I feel when I was doing like work last summer. I was like, wait, I got no time for games and stuff. Like what like working people feel like. Because I really had to prioritize. Okay, so these days I would do stream. Oh, and these days I'm gonna work on my video instead. And so this will be a scripting day, and really kind of plan that stuff out.
Yeah. I've been trying to plan like my schedules a bit more these days. I mean, I always brand myself, as a lazy orange cat boy, right? But at the same time, I've got to deliver on my promises to a certain extent, and I want to try to get this glam metal video out by the end of September. But at the same time, it's just like I've got however many fucking hours to edit in it, so it's like,
Yep.
It's a matter of finding the motivation to push through all of it.
No, definitely. But yeah, your first video on Kiss, I believe, that was like that should be some pretty good motivation because that video did very well.
Thank you.
Video.
Yeah, no,
That was pretty crazy.
I'm really happy with the continued success of that particular Kiss series, and I hope I'm able to eventually make it back to talking about them. I mean, what was it? I set a goal for myself that when I hit 10,000 subscribers, I'd do that. But I don't know. It's just like I feel like there's a lot there still between, the similarities between VTubers and Kiss that would be ripe for exploring in a sequel series.
It's definitely a niche that no one else is exploring, so that would be like you'd be like trailblazing that path.
I mean, I don't know necessarily if nobody else is exploring Kiss on YouTube. I just think that not to sound egotistical or anything, I don't know if anyone's doing it quite to the thoroughness that I am,
No, you go up. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I don't know, like there's a lot of topics in like old music history with like classic rock and all that are well worthy of like a video essay or a deep dive or what have you, that modern generations, I feel like, we have all the essays about all the modern music and stuff, but like all the dad rock, that kind of gets left to the side in a sense. Like, I think with certain YouTubers out there, like Todd in the Shadows, Crash Thompson, even Anthony Fantano, I guess to a certain extent, he does like he covers old music from time to time, but I feel like there needs to be somebody who's making like these older stories more relevant to a modern day audience. Otherwise, they're not gonna carry on into the future,
Yeah, definitely. So there's not really many people making like older content kind of more accessible, or not even accessible, just more interesting for newer generation. So it's cool, I mean, like that bridge gets gaps.
Yeah, it's how to say, like I won't go on a rant about how like Zoomers or Gen Alpha are just like completely uneducated about rock music or whatever, because, well, A, I'm kind of on the cusp of that Zoomer millennial boundary myself, and B, I don't know, I feel like that's kind of doing, modern music a bit of a disservice in, saying that, it's necessarily a bad thing that the youth aren't listening to old music all the time. But like, I don't know. There's definitely a lot of stuff back in the past that could do with, modern reevaluation, modern reappreciation. Like Fleetwood Mac's Rumors, for instance, that's fucking taken off in the past decade, with however many people are dancing to that stuff on TikTok, with, how many girls relate to the sort of witch queen aesthetic of Stevie Nicks and all that. Like, there's very easily a way that rock from the past can be made relatable to the present day. It's just, I don't know how many people are able to tap into that necessarily,
In my opinion, the thing that bridges older music to, like, let's say Zoomers, is kind of just new artists who are inspired by older rock and incorporate in their own music.
Absolutely.
Like people like Tim Henson, like, will study the greats, and incorporate their style into his own and then present that music, right? And like in a sense, it's kind of transitive. We're like, oh yeah, the older rock and older music is living on. It's just through new generation and through a little bit of transformative content. That's kind of my take on that. I feel like, because like when you talk to like really good like players in every like instrument, right? They always have some kind of like list of models they'll look up to, and generally they are like older players, because they've been around for so long. They've had this established career. Kind of makes sense that they learn from them.
Absolutely. I can only hope that what is it? The Beatles definitely still have their own sort of musical influence reaching into the present day. Like you've still got a few different like indie artists even now like citing Beatles sort of songwriting structures as an influence on their own songwriting. But I really hope that we're able to see that even a century on from now, like with what is it? there's that series of 4 Beatles biopics coming in a few years from now. That's going to be crucial in essentially setting the legacy of the Beatles for however many more decades to come.
I see. Didn't know about that.
I mean, I hope so. Anyways, I don't know. Like, it's not like it's not often that you've got like all the Beatles or what's left of the Beatles anyway signing off on like a big biopic project like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is kind of fascinating, like to think about with, you know, sort of the cliches that we see in most major biopics. You know, I don't know. Like a lot of artists, like it's interesting that they have biopics made of their lives, don't get me wrong, but I just think that, you know, because a lot of music biopics are so cliche and formulaic that they just end up you know, not really doing their legacy the most sort of justice. I'm thinking in particular of Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody.
Fair. But yeah, honestly, I don't know how long you usually go, but it's almost 9 o'clock here, and I don't want to keep you on for too long. It's been a really fun talk, really cool podcast. I like this a lot. I think it'd be cool to do more stuff like this.
Yeah, no. If you're good to end it off here, let me see. Let me check.
Before we end up, I just want to ask you a question. Sorry,
yeah, go ahead.
Question real quick. What are your goals for music in the coming future? Because I am kind of curious.
That's an interesting question. You know, aside from what I'm doing right now with like all of my music history stuff and deep dives and all that, I want to make more covers. You know, I want to keep doing covers. I want to get better at production, hopefully myself, you know, so that my covers don't sound like semi-dog water when I release them. You know, not to say that I don't put some effort in my covers. It's just like the effort that I put in mixing and mastering them definitely could be a lot better with a lot more practice, and I want to get good at that. I also want to start releasing original songs. You know, I want to try and improve my songwriting game, because, you know, that's something really cool about the Vtuber space. I find, like, especially with like indie Vtubers, they have their own platform to release music, even if they are like predominantly a streamer or, you know, another type of content creator entirely. It's just another launch pad for a music career. So I definitely want to, I don't know, I have quite a few things that I want to do, and hopefully in the next year I will be on track to do them.
No, that sounds cool. That sounds like a cool plan. Because you're right, VTubers have easier platform to release music on. It's almost expected sometimes, you know, like when's the King cover gonna drop, Resi? Like, I'm waiting for that.
Oh my god. That's how fucking old is that meme? I don't know if that'd be current still. What are the kids singing nowadays? Is it still
right,
Idol?
Oh, Idol! You know how insanely big Idol was in Japan? Like, I would see so much Idol inspired, like Idol as in like the Yaosobi song. Like that song was so popular in Japan. Like it'd be in random. It's almost like propaganda, low key, but it was so funny how like everywhere it was.
That's interesting.
It was in all the rhythm games and arcades too. Like, oh my god, it's cool. It's a good song though. I like it.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, I thank you so much, Yura, for joining me today. I think I am pretty much out of questions on my end here. So if you want to depart, that's all well and good. But before you go, how can people find you?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess I stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Yorashoo. Otherwise, I have a YouTube channel. Same thing as my Twitch name. I post music stuff there, but mainly these days it's gameplay stuff. So if you're into like gacha games like Genshin, Wuthering, feel free to check that out. But yeah, that's how you can find me. I guess I have a Discord as well if you want to join that. And
dope.
Yeah.
I just dropped your link
like
tree in
myself.
chat, so you know,
Appreciate you,
everybody
appreciate
go
you.
support. If you're watching on the VODs or if you're in chat, go support Yorashoo. He's a great guy, great friend. Yeah, thank you so much once again
So
for
nice.
thank you once again for the fun conversation, man. But for the rest of y'all, you know, hopefully next time, I'm not quite sure who we'll have on yet, but I'm sure whatever whoever's on, it'll be some sort of fascinating conversation. Whatchamacallit, I will hopefully have more updates soon on the glam metal video. You know, I'm almost done with my first real section of it after the intro, so progress is coming along on that. Very exciting stuff is happening with the Resi or Edgy channel soon, so as always, stay tuned, and I am so excited to bring it to you. Let me see, we have quite a few concurrent viewers in here, so let me see if I can redirect us somewhere adequately. Nah, it doesn't look like there's any VTubers on right now, so I think I will just end things here. Thank you all once again for tuning in. Thanks to Yorashoo for the fun conversation. And I will see y'all next time. Bye-bye.
That was fun. Appreciate you having me on.